Yeah.
I just hope we had more than you and I that paid a little bit of coin for this.
Yes. All right, well, it is officially 12 o'clock, so we can go ahead and begin. I want to welcome everyone and thank you all for just supporting your local chamber by signing up to do this. This is a big help. As you know, it's been a difficult year for many businesses, including us, and so not being able to have these events in person has been kind of difficult. So this is a nice shot in the arm today to be able to do this in a new and creative way. So we thank you for being willing to give this a try. Also want to thank you for supporting local restaurants. We're trying to use this luncheon as a way to highlight some of our restaurants that, as you know, they still have to face some gathering restrictions, and they've seen a lot of hits taken on people just not being willing to go inside the restaurant. So today we're highlighting 3 of our member restaurants, the Red Oak Cafe, the Martinez Mexican restaurant. Both of those are in Alvin. And we're also highlighting Dear Donut Man in Manville. And these are great members of ours, and we hope that us sending you later on this week a gift card to go support them is a boost for their business this month. So you can expect to receive those gift cards hopefully next week in the mail, or if you prefer another way, you can reach out to me, email me, and we will figure out a way to get it to you. I wanted to let you know next month we'll be offering this luncheon again. We'll be highlighting the city of Alvin for a State of the City discussion, and that'll be on Tuesday, October 13th. So if you want to go ahead and put that on your calendar, we would love to have you out again. And before Judge Sebesta begins, we would like to invite you to ask any questions that you have for the judge in the chat section, and we will make sure to check those out. Congressman Dan Davis and I will be going through the chat section, and we'll make sure to get those questions over to Ashley as she conducts this conversation with Judge. Now I'd like to introduce our chamber's vice chairperson and lead on our governmental relations committee, Mrs. Ashley Quinones. She is the director of local and community relations for Memorial Hermann Health System and a very valuable part of our chamber. She will be leading the discussion today with Judge Sebesta. So thank you, Ashley, as always, for helping us out today. I hand it over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carrie. And as Carrie mentioned, thank you all for joining us for our first Alvin Manville Area Chamber of Commerce virtual luncheon. As some of you may know, the state of Brazoria County is a luncheon we host every year, but I doubt any of us imagined that this year's installation of the event would look like this. So we really do appreciate your flexibility and appreciate your participation today, and certainly appreciate your continued support of the chamber. As Carrie mentioned, I'm Ashley Quinones with Memorial Hermann Health System and have the honor of serving as our co-chair of the Chamber's Governmental Relations Division alongside Wendy Del Bello with Alvin Community College. I see you there, Wendy. Thanks for joining us. And I'd like to begin, obviously, by introducing Judge Sebesta to you all. For those of you who may not know him, Judge Sebesta is a lifelong resident of Brazoria County. He graduated from Texas A&M University with a degree in civil engineering. He's a licensed professional engineer and a registered professional land surveyor. His public service started in 1990 when he was appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission for the city of Angleton. So he is in his 26th year of elected office, currently serving in his second term as our county judge in Brazoria County, after having stints of serving as a councilman, mayor, and county commissioner. In 1996, Judge Sebesta was appointed to the Regional Resource Commission by then Governor George W. Bush, and later as chairman of the Regional Resource Commission in 1998 by Governor Bush. And this is a position he has held under not only Governor Bush, but Governor Perry and Governor Abbott. He also serves as our past chairman and Brazoria County representative to HGAC Transportation Policy Council. As our county judge in Brazoria County, Judge Sebesta presides over our commissioner's court and serves as chief administrator over the county. He is the director of emergency management, providing leadership during disasters and emergency events. And Judge, I think you will agree, Brazoria County has had their fair share of such events during your time. So we certainly appreciate your leadership in that regard. He and his wife, Monica, have been married for 33 years and have 2 adult sons. And you have been a lifelong or a longtime supporter of the Alvin Manville Area Chamber of Commerce Judge, and it's always a pleasure to host you. A couple of housekeeping items. I'll turn it over to you, Judge Sebesta, in just a second. At the end of your presentation, as Carrie referenced, we will allow time for Q&A, and you can easily put your question in the chat box at the bottom of your screen if you have a question, and we'll try to get to as many of those as time allows. We also have some pre-submitted questions that have been submitted by our Governmental Relations Division. So, Judge Sebesta, thank you again for your time to be here today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ashley. And again, who would have thought last year that this year we would be doing this presentation in Zoom where I may or may not be wearing pajama shorts? Who knows? So, other than Commissioner Adams, who's in my conference room on this call, and we just came out of court, so he knows that that's not the case, but it could be if we hadn't had court this morning. It is an honor and a privilege to represent as your county judge on Commissioner's Court and serve the citizens. And we had an exciting court meeting this morning, which I'll talk about more as I go through my presentation, but I'm going to go ahead and bring up, with my technological skills, I'm going to share the screen and see if we can't get my presentation up. And it says host disabled participant screen sharing. All right, whoever's hosting, we can let me. Here we go. Right here. All right. Let me get, there we go. All right, State of the County 2020. It's been, as Ashley said and Corey said, it has been a challenging time this last 6 or 8 months, but we have still continued to do business here in the county. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a little bit of economic development update with some of the things going on in the county. And again, I've got Commissioner Adams in the other room here. He'll jump in if I misstep a little bit. But you know, we still have a lot of rooftops going on in the county. We've still got our industrial partners that are finishing up projects in the county. But one of the things that we have seen a lot of interest from in this past year are solar farms. I think we've had a total of 6 solar farms that have come to us and more that are still talking. We have one under construction west of the Brazos that should be online in the very near future. And we have others that we have worked out 381 agreements with that we'll see if they pull the trigger to make them happen. But this time next year, we could have as many as 6 solar farms under construction here in Brazoria County. A lot on the west side of the county and more on the southern end, south of 1462, where we have some more wide open land to be able to do that, because they're usually looking at 1,000 to 2,000 acres to put these facilities in. Next thing I want to talk about is our sales tax. Go back to 2010, and you see in 2010, we had about $14.7 million in sales tax collected in Brazoria County. And that was at a time when we were probably still in an economic recession. We were lucky at that time to see a industrial project that would come in that was more than 10 or 20 million bucks. Since that time, gosh, I know we've probably done 6 or 7 projects, over $1 billion in investment each, and many more in the $500 million as they have gone into construction. You see our sales tax climbing. We've had a pretty healthy construction force, contractor force here in the county that are spending dollars. And then you also see in 2017, 2018, you see a pretty good spike, and that is not only from the contractors still in the county, but you also would see that from some post-Harvey, where we had about 12,000, 13,000 homes in the county that had water in them, a lot of folks that were buying construction supplies. And then we got up to in 2018 was our peak at about $34.2 million in sales tax collected. And that is just what Brazoria County is collecting on our half a penny. We're one of about 50% of the counties in the state of Texas that when the opportunity came to jump in and get a piece of the sales tax, we did. And that saves about 11 or 12 cents on ad valorem on your property taxes. So it's a really good thing. We did see in 2019 our sales tax dipped a bit, but again, I think that was as we had the glut from post-Harvey. And this year, we are surprisingly, compared to this time last year, we're about $3.6 million ahead of last year's collections, which it seems like it's a little difficult to make sense of with the pandemic for the last 5 or 6 months. But we've only had 1 month where our sales tax has actually dipped, and it was just $10,000 or $15,000. But it has actually been up rather significantly through this year. So that's been a good thing. One of the things we did this morning is we approved our 2020-2021 county budget, which was at $212 million, which with general funds actually down by about 6.9%, which is decrease of about $15.9 million. And kudos to our department heads and our elected officials for really holding the line this year, not giving us too many wants, more concentrating on their needs and trimming back where they could. One of the things we did do in this budget is we added several positions. We added a felony prosecutor, with Veterans Court. We added a technologies tech and 2 mental health deputies in the sheriff's office because that is one of the things we are seeing an increase of is mental health calls. We added a clerk in the fire marshal's office because they are really being overwhelmed with the number of permits that are being turned in, where the fire marshal, not only in unincorporated areas of the county, but in the smaller cities that don't have the budget for a fire marshal, we contract with them to handle the fire marshal duties. We added a supervisor in the parks department. We're going to add a risk management office mid-year of this budget that will help us not only with contracts, but with grants and looking at our insurance, that type of thing, to make sure that we are mitigating all the risk that we can within county government. We did approve a step increase, which is a 3% increase for all of our employees that are a step 1 through 7, which is something that we try to do every year, is do the 1 through 7s. Then we have also 8 through 15s. And every other year, we try to address those with a step increase. And we also had a 0.72% cost of living adjustment that we approved for our employees, but that does not apply to any elected officials in the county. We continue to have extraordinarily strong reserves and an excellent bond rating of AA+, which is the second highest that you can get. And we did adopt that this morning in Commissioner's Court. This is our tax rate going back to 2014 through today. And as you can see, we've had a significant drop. I know many of y'all that have paid attention to the legislature these last couple of sessions, there seems to be a lot of acrimony toward local cities and counties coming from, and so they have enacted some laws on tax rates, the increase in what you can do with your tax rate. And for the last 12 years, we have been at or below the no new revenue rate, which means when they're talking bad about cities and counties in Brazoria County, they're not talking about the county of Brazoria. We have very well held the line on that. And the rate that we adopt for this next budget is 0.392017, which is over a 2-cent drop from last year. And if you go back to 2014, it is a 10.6483 cent decrease from where we were just 6 years ago. So we've addressed that each and every year. And again, 12 years in a row, we've been at or below the no new revenue rate. And within that 0.392017, less than 4 cents, and actually very close to 3 cents, is the amount of debt. So we have very low debt in Brazoria County on our books. We handle things on a cash basis. We handle things as we need them, and try to be extraordinarily conservative with that. And again, as going back to 2014 to today, that is the court that has been in session, been on the court since 2014 with that 10.6483 cent decrease in the tax rate. A little bit about, and I haven't heard Commissioner Adams chip in, so I must have hit that correctly. Some of our Brazoria County projects that we have going, of course, we have our toll facility. You see some recent drone shots that we've got here of the Beltway 8 and Highway 288 just north of the county line. Matter of fact, that's probably taken just several hundred feet north of the county line, where that shot was taken by Martin Vella, who is one of your councilmen in Alvin, who is also our fire marshal. He graciously took this drone footage for us. But we are essentially complete with our 288 project. We're waiting on what you're looking at northward to be complete in the next month or two. They are telling us it will be substantially complete. That is the part that is in Harris County. that Harris County chose not to keep themselves. They gave it back to TxDOT. TxDOT found a concessionaire, Blue Ridge Transportation Group. They have been doing that project. We, on the other hand, Brazoria County, decided we were going to keep and manage the Brazoria County section. By doing so, we paid for it, through our Brazoria County Toll Road Authority, and we will manage on the Brazoria County section the cost of the tolls. We will keep that toll revenue, and then once we get to a point in time when we are flowing cash on that project, then we will be putting that back into 288 and taking it down to almost 1462 to County Road 60, which is where it has been environmentally cleared to go. So we're very much looking forward to, at some point in time, taking that project further south. And we will, that is where the Grand Parkway will come in, both segment B, which runs east from that County Road 60 and 288. That is segment B. Segment C will run westward into Fort Bend County. We're also working on County Road 59 and County Road 58 and purchasing right-of-way. Those are TIP projects. And also County Road 101, which we are working on. It's under construction now. That is another one of our TIP projects. Another project we just recently completed is a new JP facility in Lake Jackson, which we were able to consolidate some of our services, much like we've done in Manville, both on Corporate Drive as well as a little bit northwest of Manville, as well as what we've done in West Columbia, and what we will be doing in the next few years in Alvin. Commissioner Adams has done a great job finding us a tract of property in Alvin that we are currently under contract on, and hopefully at some point in time we will get that deal closed, and then we will be able to move Judge Merkel to some nicer digs in the Alvin area to better serve our constituents in Precinct 3 in the Alvin area. Next, I would like to talk about our Brazoria County campus plan. What you see on the visual in front of you are some very early architectural renditions. What you see on the left-hand side on the front, the very nice classic looking structure is our 1940 courthouse. Our museum, which would be on the north side of the two buildings here that you see front and back, that is our old museum, or that's our museum, which is actually my background is our museum. That was our original courthouse in Angleton. But you see the 1940s version, which was built, it was about 60,000 square feet in 1940 to serve 27,000 residents in Brazoria County. Immediately behind that building, you see our the annex. It was built in 1976. That was an additional 67,650 square feet to serve at the time in 1976, 136,000 residents. In 2003, we added, which is just to the west, the left-hand side of here, a annex, which was another 45,000 square feet to serve at that time 254,000 people. And then the old Walmart building in Angleton in 2007, the county occupied, it was another 35,000 square feet to serve at that time 270,000 square feet. And what you see here is on the right-hand side, you see a sky bridge going across the street. What you see is a proposed new administration building, which we will be able to move most of the non-court and non-DA folks out of the courthouse and move into that facility. And then where you see the sky bridge crossing across, that is to a extension of what was the 1976 edition. And then you would see a complete remodel of the inside of the 1976 edition, and then some remodel on the inside of the 1940s edition to help serve Brazoria County for the next 40 years. At this point in time, when we did this study several years ago, we were where we're at today. We're 1.8 courts short to serve what we anticipate will be, once the new census is counted, between 375 and 400,000 residents in Brazoria County. We have a lot of new people moving to the county, and when they come in, a lot of them bring family issues. A lot of the families unfortunately end in divorce. They end up in these buildings to get that adjudicated. But we're currently a couple of courts short. In 10 years, we'll be over 2 courts short. In 20 years, we'll be 3 to 4 courts short of where we're at today. In 25 years, we'll be 4 to 7 courts short. And that's what we are hoping to alleviate with this courthouse expansion. We're probably about 40% done right now with design plans. Our architectural team is working on that diligently. And at our next court meeting on the 22nd, we will be most likely choosing our contractor that will be building the facility for us. And hopefully in the third quarter next year, we will start construction. Next, COVID, which I know is a topic that we're all sick and damn tired of. But unfortunately, it is something that is still with us. And our health department has just been fantastic through this, because it has been something, if this were a flood, I've often said, we've had enough floods in the last 4 or 5 years that when the Brazos River floods, it's like a chess match. When we see the river go up in Richmond, we know in a couple of days it's going to go up in Rocheron, which means we're going to have some roads flood. We know which roads those are. We're going to have some houses flood, and we can start making moves. It's, as I've said, it's like a chess match. We know when this move is made, we know what our move needs to be. COVID has been completely different. And I have, if any of y'all have seen the movie Dodgeball, it is akin to playing dodgeball blindfolded and having wrenches thrown at you. Because a lot of what we've had to do is react as COVID continues to move through, and the government, both at the federal level and the state level, they keep making changes. And so we've had to continue to react as we go through that. We have 22 staff members in our health department, and we've added another 40 through this process. We've got 5 temps that came out of our screener pool. We've got 10 from other county departments that are stepping up after hours and weekends. And I don't think that includes a lot of my staff, myself and Sharon Trower, my public information officer who put this presentation together for me. It does not include the evenings and weekends that we're working. We have 11 additional staff through a contract agency, another 2 provided by the Texas Workforce Commission, and another 12 provided by the Department of State Health Services that are working with us. This is an update on our dashboard, and our IS department has done a great job developing this, and I would encourage, if you haven't seen this, go out to our website. It is just about the first thing that's going to pop up. And this is where we do our daily reporting on our cases. We will exceed 9,000 cases in Brazoria County today. We've got where it says 2,423 confirmed. That is confirmed active cases. We have almost 6,500 recovered cases. We've unfortunately had 73 folks that have passed away from complications of COVID. And we've got 25 probable cases out there. And a probable case is generally someone that a lot of times it's a child, but it is both parents have it. The child has got symptoms. because both of the parents have been confirmed, and honestly, the parents just don't want to put the child through through testing, or it may be a spouse of someone who is tested positive. They're in the same household. They just don't want to go through testing, and but they've exhibiting the exact same symptoms and are just staying home and self-isolating through that. So that's where we're at with COVID. So check and see how I'm doing on time. I'm doing pretty good so far. Hurricane season. If y'all haven't realized yet, we're in hurricane season. If Marco and Laura didn't tune us into that, we had a little bit of a trial run a couple of weeks ago. It was a very stressful week in our emergency management department, dealing with Laura and trying to figure out just exactly where she was going to go. And luckily, as most of the folks predicted, it ended up going, unfortunately, into Louisiana. Unfortunate for them. You know, dealing with hurricanes when they come into the Gulf of Mexico, it's a fortunate, unfortunate scenario. The folks that are spared are fortunate. Unfortunately, it's going to hit someone. And I'm very thankful that folks in Brazoria County have been stepping up and sending some relief supplies. I'm going to miss somebody, but I know our Rotary clubs have been Johnny on the spot. Our Lions clubs have been collecting water, ice, Gatorade, anything else that can help the folks over in Louisiana, Jefferson County, Orange County that are living through the aftermath of Laura. They have been phenomenal in stepping up and sending resources their way. We're in the peak of hurricane season, so everybody needs to be ready. Ready Brazoria County is an app that we have out there that was developed, released late last year, I think. If you don't have it, go get it and get it on your phone. It is another way for us to communicate. Unfortunately, in today's day and time, folks get a lot of their information from social media. And Sharon is sitting next to me, so I'm going to clean up what I'm about to say. But unfortunately, people get all of their information from the school of Facebook, where if you have a third grade reading level, overnight you can become a constitutional law expert, a health expert, and a meteorologist. Not really realizing that Facebook is kind of the public swimming pond that everybody shows up to swim in, yet there's no restrooms around the facility for anybody to get up and get out and go to the restroom. Nobody ever gets out of the pool to go, but that's where they get all their information. So just putting you with that mindset on my thoughts on what Facebook is and for people getting their information from it. So, and I'm getting scowled at for that analogy, but let us press on. Elections, they're coming up. I feel for you school board members, you city council members that are on this ballot, way, way, way at the bottom. It would be bad enough if we still had straight ticket voting, where 65% of our electorate in Brazoria County are used to straight ticket voting. Punch, confirm, cast your vote, walk out. We don't have that anymore. Folks are going to have to go through the ballot, top to bottom. And at the very bottom are going to be those school board members. We're going to have those city council elections. Please, please, please go all the way through the ballot and make sure you cast your ballots in our local races. That is extraordinarily important to all of us, and especially to those folks that are on the ballot in their May election timeframe got COVIDed out, make sure you go all the way through. You can still register to vote. If you have not done so, please do so. Early voting has been extended. It starts October 13th. I would encourage everyone, early vote. Don't wait till 5 o'clock on November 3rd to go and get in what's going to be a long line of people who decided to wait and forgot that they don't hit a straight ticket and walk out in 3 minutes. It is going to be a long process. So folks, go early, take care of your business, go all the way through the ballot. Let's make sure our local folks, we take care of voting for them, and also the county races. They're at the bottom end. You're going to start the presidential, Senate, Congress, state, then you get to the county races before. So the ones that are extraordinarily important on a local level are toward the tail end. Make sure you go all the way down and take care of our local elected officials. Even Commissioner Adams, he's unopposed, but he does make sure that he doesn't get many undervotes, so make sure you take care of him and take care of that. So I know if you're watching the news, you know there's an election coming up. With that being said, I think I've left plenty of time for Ashley to pepper me with questions. And so I'll take any questions except from Commissioner Adams.
Wonderful, Judge. Thank you for the update. And I want to start going back to kind of how you started with regards to the fact that projects continue throughout the county despite our being in this time of COVID-19. And you mentioned the Grand Parkway, obviously, Segment B specifically. One question that was submitted is in regards to the status of the Grand Parkway. I know a lot of us this time last year and even months before spent quite a bit of time in Austin, you know, advocating for the Grand Parkway to come through Brazoria County and link over to Galveston County. So any updates you can provide in regards to that?
That is something that TxDOT, the local contingent did get their ear. Huge shout out to Representative Thompson. He has worked diligently on that. Mayor Horn, Larry Bueller, they have worked, the chamber has worked hard. Commissioner Adams, I don't think has missed a meeting. As we have continually met with TxDOT, they are looking at a traffic and revenue study, and we need to continue to put pressure on TxDOT, and Representative Thompson certainly will, because it's very important to Alvin, specifically because of the congestion issues that we have in Alvin at this time. So it is extremely important. One project that we've got coming up in the next year or two is, I know Commissioner Adams and I met with TxDOT several years ago, and I know they have it on their books, is to come in on 35 between Angleton and Alvin and put in some Super 2 passing lanes to assist in some of the congestion that we have on the 2-lane between Angleton and Alvin. And I know Commissioner Adams and I really worked hard to get that included. And I believe it's either 21 or 22, they are planning to do that project. But we need to get that congestion relieved through Alvin, and the Grand Parkway, getting that done will greatly help in getting that done in that portion of Segment B, and then getting it all the way over to 288, and then getting C completed from 288 over to 59.
Very good. Thank you for that. Another question that we had submitted is in regards to 288, specifically the Brazoria County toll road portion. And the question is how much toll revenue is projected to be generated?
You know, I think any of the projections are probably out the window right now with COVID and a lot of people working from home, I think our initial projections were within 3 to 5 years, we would be covering the cost of the debt on that and then working that forward. I believe with COVID and a lot of folks that are now working from home, we're not going to get a good feel for that until we actually get it open. It is just, it's just a crazy time right now. And so that's going to remain to be seen.
Understood. Another project that was asked about is Highway 58, and I think a time frame for possible expansion there. The question stated that that project was expected or is expected to start in 2022, and they were curious if that was still on time to be started then or if that had been delayed.
And that's on County Road 58?
They said Highway 58, so yeah, I would assume county because I don't know about Highway 58, so I would assume.
We don't have a 58 here, but the County Road 58, I would have to get with Matt Hanks and look at that, but I know we are actually actively purchasing right-of-way on that right now. And so it's probably, generally it falls 2 to 3 years after the right-of-way is when we'll get into construction. So 22, 23 sounds like the right time frame.
Very good. Another area that I think a lot of folks tend to forget about is the critical role that Brazoria County plays with regards to travel of freight. And we know, particularly in the last 5 to 6 months, just how incredibly important it's been to have certain goods delivered, to our region of the state. And so can you just speak to just the critical role that Brazoria County plays with regards to the freight industry and moving goods?
Well, we work very diligently with TxDOT as far as identifying routes, working with them to make sure that the right routes are improved. Port Houston is one of the largest ports in the United States. They're seeing an uptick. Port Freeport, which we have right here in Brazoria County, they are growing and continuing to grow and adding more and more trucks onto our roadways. So we continue to work with TxDOT. One of the things you look at is particularly 288, adding our managed lanes. I would imagine the truck traffic is going to stay on the general lanes. We have an option for folks to get over into the managed lanes, and the trucks too, if they so desire and wish to pay those tolls. We also see Highway 36, which is an important west of the county. A lot of folks in Alvin, it's completely opposite, but those folks that are going from Alvin on Highway 6, getting over to 288 and getting caught in that congestion, Highway 36 on the west end of the county, which feeds into the Port Freeport, is currently being expanded all the way to 59 to 4-lane. And so that's going to take several years. Part of it's under construction at this time, but that's going to leave more of a straight shot for freight traffic that's coming out Port Freeport that's going, say they're going to San Antonio, they're going to Austin, they may be going up to El Paso. They get off of 288, they go up 36, hit 59, hit 10, 290, wherever they're going, and then they can go west and get off of 288 and alleviate some of that traffic. So even though it may not be, folks from Alvin, Manville may not see that as being a big deal, it actually is a big deal because it will alleviate, because believe you me, those trucks that are going to San Antonio, one, they don't want to go up on 36 right now. It's a 2-lane, and they really don't like going up 288, getting on the Beltway or 610 and through the congestion fiasco that is some of our Houston roadways to go out this way. So this will allow some alleviation on 288 in the future.
Very good. A lot of activity on the transportation front for sure.
Yes, ma'am.
As always, to try to support such a growing county. I want to shift over a little bit to COVID-19. And obviously the Chamber has been doing our best to support our local businesses during this time of just an unprecedented time. And just wanted to get any feedback that you might have as you meet with, local businesses or chat with local businesses around, any of the challenges that they're facing and, any specifics, things that the Chamber could also be doing to support them.
Yeah, it is a tough time for small businesses. And from what I hear from the businesses, you hear from the restaurant industry, they are being challenged and they are having to be very flexible to try to stay afloat. It's tough on them. I hear from small businesses. I've got a friend that has a small manufacturing business with 57 employees. His concern is trying to keep his folks healthy as they may be out there when they go to the grocery store and are out in public. They may be fulfilling the governor's orders on masks and wearing their mask, but then on the weekends they kind of tend to forget. And when they're getting together in large groups and that type of thing, he's very frustrated trying to keep his folks healthy so that it doesn't affect the production in his business. So it's a challenge to all of our businesses. It's a challenge to our schools right now. I mean, I think I've had it bad, the last 5 or 6 months. The folks that are in our schools right now, our school administrators, our school board folks, they've got a tough job right now balancing. So it's affecting all of us in many, many different ways. And so, I continue to encourage folks to let's pay attention. Let's try not to congregate. Let's any more than we have to, but let's try to support our small businesses. Our small restaurants. Let's get as much takeout. Let's make sure that they're doing the things they're supposed to be doing to protect their patrons and their employees. And the ones that are doing a really good job of that, those are the ones we really need to be patronizing, that are doing everybody's part to keep our folks healthy. Because until we can get a vaccine available for COVID, we're going to be continuing to battle this thing.
Right. And yeah, we have so many outstanding Chamber members that fall into that category of, trying to do everything they can on the restaurant front, the retail front, and others to keep their staff safe and obviously keep those that are, patronizing their businesses safe. And you kind of alluded to it, kind of the reopening, if you will, of our state, of our communities. I've heard rumblings that, Governor Abbott may be announcing some new guidelines this week. Is there anything or any light you could shed on that? Are you hearing anything from the state level, any changes that might take place?
We hear about it when everybody else hears about it. Every news conference that the governor puts on, it's like opening packages at Christmas. We're just as surprised as anybody else. We're not mom and dad that have wrapped the present. We're just as surprised. We don't get any heads up as to what's coming down the pike. So it's news to us when it's news to everybody else.
Understood.
But I know, I believe yesterday he did sign an extension of the disaster declaration.
Correct. And speaking of government still, I'll shift a little bit over to the federal government, the CARES Act funds. And I know there's been some recent changes there that have been made to allow counties to disperse those funds to cities and other entities. Can you provide any update in regards to that?
The requirements on the CARES Act are so tight. And the thing is, you have to remember, the large counties got the money and then they're dispersing to the smaller cities or not dispersing to the smaller cities. Montgomery County, Harris County, Fort Bend County, they got a lot more money per capita than we did. We got $55, I believe, per resident in unincorporated areas. Each city got $55 for each of their residents. So the cities in Brazoria County are getting direct allocations from CARES. So they are each getting their own fair share in the same amounts that we're getting. So I believe we got between $6 and $7 million. But I would imagine probably the city of Pearland probably got more money than we did. So there's each city is getting their own allocations in Brazoria County. So we need to remember, even though Texas is 254 counties, each county is different. I'm gonna bring up a quick, we have been questioned a lot. Why don't we do like Lubbock County with our dashboard? They have positivity rate. They have a whole bunch of data that we don't have. The reason they do, Lubbock County is out. They are the big fish with a bunch of little fish, little counties around them. They have a countywide health department. All the testing is done through their countywide health department. So they know exactly how many Lubbock County residents are being tested. I think Lubbock may be the only city, big city, or maybe any city in Lubbock County. Some of you Texas Tech grads may need to correct me on that. But so they have all of the data, all right? Brazoria County, we're in a large metropolitan region, the third largest metropolitan region in the United States. Harris County, our big sister to the north, is 10 to 12 times the size of us. We have Montgomery County is larger than us. Fort Bend County is larger than us. We only have 425 hospital beds in our entire county. A lot of folks go to healthcare to Harris County because we have the med center and Harris County has about 20,000 beds, I believe. So when people go test, a lot of folks go test elsewhere. Brazoria County does not have a countywide health district, hospital district. We have a couple of small hospital districts, Sweeney, Angleton, Danbury, but the majority of our county is not in a hospital district, and Brazoria County itself doesn't do any testing. So we're all different in that regard. So just as a quick side note as compared to Lubbock County and compared to these larger counties of over 500,000 that have direct allocations and then share them with the smaller cities.
That's really helpful because I think there's been quite a bit of confusion around the test reporting aspect of things because you have multiple entities that take tests that then have to report that information to multiple entities that then get distributed over to the county. So I think that's really helpful in trying to paint a better picture of how that process happens, and certainly there's room for improvement.
Absolutely, and you know, I read off the stats on the number of people we've had to bring in to help keep up with the positive cases. And I'm just going to throw a number out, say 90% of the cases are negative. There's not enough people and resources out there to track the thank gods. Thank God it's negative. And you have people that are here visiting on a weekend. I was talking to someone that works at one of our stand-up emergency rooms, and she was telling me, oh yeah, we tested some people who was criticizing me because we didn't do things like Lubbock. And she said, oh yeah, this was right after 4th of July. We had people in here from, I believe she said Lufkin, that had tested, and they tested negative. I said, all right, did you call the people in Lufkin, whatever county that is, and inform them that you tested 4 people from their community and they tested negative? She said, no. I said, well, neither does anybody else tell us how many tested, because folks go to Community Health Network, they go to the hospitals, they go to the stand-up ERs, they go into Houston, wherever they go for testing. We don't get the, hey, Brazoria County, you know, we tested 7 people from Brazoria County here and they tested negative. There's just not enough of a network, enough people to track the demographics on the negative test.
Right, exactly. Well, I hope that there's somebody that is keeping a kind of best practices, worst practices playbook, if you will, through all of this. Because like I said earlier, there's definitely room for improvement. And I think a lot of that comes down to the testing aspect of it and the reporting
Right.
of that for sure. We just have a couple of more minutes, and I do want to make sure we ask about any flood mitigation projects or activities that you all are engaged in. I know that's a constant area of improvement. So any update you want to provide in that space?
Well, I know there were some Harvey dollars that were allocated and up on Clear Creek in conjunction with the drainage, the Pearland Drainage District, and I know they are. I don't know if they've broken ground on that project yet or not. Our local drainage districts are always trying to make improvements. We did get some dollars from 2016 from the Brazos River flood, and we've got a contractor actually now cleaning out debris from Bastrop Bayou and from Oyster Creek. That is from 2016 dollars. We worked in conjunction with Drainage District 4, working on Government Ditch. That project should be close to complete. We've got some other GLO dollars to help us with the central part of the county with Oyster Creek. So we're continually looking at opportunities in the drainage area. People need to remember Brazoria County is a little different in that we have a number of drainage districts throughout the county that cover most of the county, not all of it, but the drainage in those areas, in their jurisdictions, that is primarily their responsibility to handle the outfalls, keep them clean, keep them serviced, to make sure the water gets to them. Brazoria County, for the most part, works on roadside ditches and a few of those smaller ditches that may have come in with a subdivision that we've accepted. But the majority of the drainage work is done by drainage districts in Brazoria County.
Very good.
Again, we don't have a county-wide drainage district, so.
Right. Well, last and certainly not least, I want to give you a minute or so to plug the importance of the census. I know from a healthcare provider perspective, our community, our residents filling out the census is incredibly important for healthcare services that are provided in our community. So would love for you to stress the importance of that to Brazoria County residents.
It is absolutely important. A lot of the federal dollars that we get are allocated on a per capita basis nationwide. And so the number of folks that are here in Brazoria County, that is the multiplier on those federal dollars to make sure we get our fair share of federal dollars to make sure we help low to moderate income areas. It is very important to to all of our cities, but specifically to Clute, Freeport, and Alvin, which are based on precinct areas within their cities. One of the things that we have to do after we get the census next April 1 is we will be redrawing our commissioner precinct lines. So it is very important that we count everybody so that we can get an accurate depiction and so an accurate split of that vote for the Brazoria County citizens. So it's exceptionally important all across the board, make sure we get our fair share of federal dollars. And also the state of Texas has grown tremendously. And so whereas we will be looking for Texas to pick up several congressional seats in this next census when they redraw the lines next year. So we need to make sure everybody is counted because we could pick up a new seat in this area. Who knows? But we need to make sure everybody is counted because they'll redraw the state lines, the state Senate lines, all of those things. And it's extraordinarily important that we make sure that everybody in Brazoria County is counted so that we get our fair representation not only in Austin, but in Washington.
Very good. That's a great note to end on, Judge. Really appreciate your time. And like I mentioned earlier, your longtime support of the Chamber. We are always here, ready and able to assist you, whether that be from advocacy or just whatever you and the county need. So we really appreciate your support and your time to join us today. I want to also make sure and thank Dan Davis, Councilmember Dan Davis with the City of Manville, who chairs our division that leads our luncheons, and you know, coming up with a very creative idea along with Carrie to host these virtually. And Carrie, I'll turn it over to you if you have any closing comments.
Thank you, Ashley.
Yes, thank you, Judge. And I would be remiss to not mention there's several gigums in the chat section for you there. So I guess I'll tell you that. But thank you so much for being here, and thank you for giving us this time. Again, we want to make sure you know that you not only supported the Chamber and the county, you also supported some local restaurants, and we will be hopefully getting those gift cards out to you as soon as possible. So I want to thank you all again for attending and making time for this. And again, just the flexibility everyone had to go virtual today. We look forward to doing it again next month. So thank you all, and have a great rest of your Tuesday. And we'll see you again. Thank you again, Judge Sebesta.
Absolutely. Hope we can do this in person next year.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Thank you all.